What's up YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today's video is all about debunking the myths of dealer plates. Now, for the last few weeks, I've gotten a lot of messages about, dealer plates, how to properly use them, the shady stuff that people are using them for and everything else. So I wanted to make a video explaining on the right ways to use a dealer plate, how you can get yourself into a lot of trouble and some other things. So make sure you watch the whole video. A lot of the ones are going to surprise you. And if you could do me a huge favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, it helps me find more amazing people like yourselves and enjoy automotive content. Also, if you consider subscribing, I post epic stuff like this all the time. Click the notification bell as well, and let's get into the video. Now, the first one we're going to get into is actually never rent out your dealer plate. I know there's a lot of dealers watching this right now that make some extra money on the side by renting out their dealer plate. You never want to do this, and I'm going to give you a few reasons why, and then I'm going to give you a few examples. So the one reason why you never rent out your dealer plate is you have all the liability. So if somebody takes your dealer plate, puts it on one of their cars and crashes into somebody and they flee the scene, you're liable, not them, you, because it's your company, your insurance, your bond, everything goes with that. And the worst part is, if let's say somebody gets hurt, that person can sue your dealership and put you out of business. You never want to do that. Now, if you say something stupid like, oh, it wasn't mine, I gave it to a friend, I let him use my plate, now you're showing negligence. Now the DMV is going to take your license. So you never want to rent out your dealer plate. Now I know there's a lot of companies out there that are like, oh, give me $300 a month or $500 a month and I'll give you a dealer plate. Don't ever do those. You never want to be a part of it. On top of that too, once your dealer plate is on something, and let's say they owe money to banks or whatever else, if these collection companies see that dealer plate and they see the car, they will take that car. You could even show them that, hey, it's my car, here's the title. They will still take ownership of that vehicle. You never want to mess with that. So please don't ever do that. So here in Vegas, I had a friend of mine that would always sell dealer plates. He would rent out dealer plates to different people because he wanted to offset his cost of being a dealer, which I know when you're starting up, you're desperate, you need to get money and everything else, and I can appreciate that. But you never want to put your livelihood in jeopardy. So he was giving everybody in their grandma plates. They were giving him, I think he was charging people $500 for dealer plates, and then he was charging them like $250 a deal. Now this wouldn't have been a bad thing if he would have put them on as salesman, because then legally it's okay and you could actually get away with it. But this guy never did. He just gave it to random people that had multiple DUIs, multiple felonies, some weren't even US citizens. He just gave, whoever gave him money, gave him a plate. Well anyways, these guys were using his cars in crimes. And so all of a sudden, one day in the middle of the night, he gets raided. They raid his dealership and they raid his house. He has nothing to do with this whatsoever, but just because he was associated with these other people, they couldn't tell if he was part of the actual conspiracy commit crimes or if he was actually just an innocent bystander. But this is what happened. So now he wound up losing his dealership, losing a lot of his cars because they couldn't tell if the money he received from his vehicles were part of this, I think they were selling pills or something in the casinos, and that's how they all got popped. So so all this basically filtered back to him, which shut him out of business. Keep in mind, this guy has never even had a speeding ticket, let alone any type of felony or any type of trouble with police, but they don't care. This is some of the things that come back to you. Another thing I see a lot of people doing is using dealer plates for rental cars. I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever do that. If you're a dealership watching this right now, you are better off putting a temporary placard into it and registering it in the company's name. And if the car works out, great. If not, to delete the plate and send it back to the auction. But you never want to put a dealer plate on a rental car, because once you get into an accident, same thing. They can go after your dealer plate. And then if the insurance company finds out about that, they can also sue you for negligence. And then on top of that, if the DMV finds out, they will take all your licenses away. Now, there's a lot of people that use dealer plates because they don't want to pay sales tax on exotic cars. They don't want to pay, registration and insurance on some of these Highline vehicles because it's very expensive. So I won't list names, but there's a lot of people here in Las Vegas that do exotic rental car companies that actually have dealer plates, as well as I've seen a lot of them in Atlanta. You never want to do this because, like I said, you're putting yourself at all kinds of jeopardy, and if somebody turns you in, they will literally come and swoop up all your cars. And if you don't believe me and you think I'm joking, try it. They will, as soon as they find out that you're misusing your plates, that's it. That's a wrap. So another example is I had a client that was in San Diego. He had a group of family members that lived in Tijuana. So what their little system was is they would take cars, buy them at the auction, drive them down to Tijuana and fix them. Now a lot of people do this because the upholstery, the paint and body, everything else is, 20 cents on the dollar. It's much, much cheaper to get, work done down there than it is up here in the United States. So they were buying a lot of cars from Copart, IAA, bringing them down there, getting them fixed up, and then bringing them right back across the border and selling them at the auction. And that was their little thing. But I told them, don't ever give out your dealer plates to friends, family, whatever else. Well, once he started making money, he didn't want to take the trips anymore. So he started getting friends, associates, and just like everything else, greed comes in. So these guys were bringing not drugs, but they were bringing, I think it was like pharmaceuticals, like, what was it? Insulin, Viagra. They were bringing some crazy stuff over. Well, just because of that, once they brought over such a volume, it's considered trafficking. He automatically lost his dealer's license. He can never get a dealer's license ever again. He's in the KO book. If you don't know what the KO book is, that basically means you're banned everywhere. Not in that state, but everywhere. So you can never get any type of specialty license. And on top of that, he can never get any other specialty license as well when it comes to like a liquor license, a pawn shop license. He wants to work for the government, the city, the state. Won't happen. Unfortunately, when you do that type of stuff, there are massive consequences to that. Now, I've told you a lot of the things that are bad. Now, if you are going to do this, some states have loaner plates. Loaner plates are good because when I give out a loaner plate here in the state of Nevada, it uses that person's insurance. So every time I give them a loaner plate, I make sure that I have a copy of their insurance. I have them sign a form, and they can take one of my cars, or if they want to take one of their cars, they can. So this way, I'm legally covered. If anything happens, any types of issues, you can legally loan out that plate to somebody to either move a vehicle, use it for a loaner. So if you have a repair shop, I highly recommend getting loaner plates because it will save you a lot of headache, but when it comes to your dealer plates, you never want to play around with it because it is your livelihood, and there's so much risk and liability with dealer plates. Now, I know there's a lot of people right now that are searching online for, dealer plates for $3.99 a month. I'm telling you, please do not do it. It's going to be a big headache. And like I said, if for some reason a lot of these companies go out of business and they never even tell you. So you're driving around thinking nothing's an issue, all of a sudden you get pulled over by the police and they confiscate your plate. Sometimes they'll confiscate your car if you don't show proof of ownership. I have a client that's a professional athlete in the Los Angeles area, and we got him a dealer's license because he loves cars. He has classic cars, exotic cars, everything else. And what he was paying for insurance, monthly fees, and registration, it was actually cheaper for him to get a dealer's license than to actually do this, because he's always constantly moving cars, flipping cars, paying for registration, getting rid of the car. So I told him on this end, it would be a good thing for him to do that. Well, it worked out really well for him because, like I said, he had over, I think, 27 cars, and he would just take his dealer plate from one to the other, and he was perfectly legit. He was the owner of the company, he was listed on the insurance policy, and all the cars were under his dealership's name. So everything was above board, which is fine. But he started messing around with a bunch of his associates that, oh, I want to get a dealer plate, I want to do that. So he gave a few of his other, past teammates or classmates or friends plates, and he started doing some really shady stuff. So what happened is he actually gave a plate to one of these guys, and this was on TMZ a while back. They were driving around and stealing exotic cars from valets in LA. And so once they took these cars, this is probably like 4 or 5 years ago, they would take these cars and they would drive them around. So he was driving, I guess, a Rolls-Royce Ghost with his dealer plate on there. So when when they pulled over the Ghost, they ran the VIN, they found that it was stolen. They took the car, they took the plate, they ran the VIN, or they ran the plate number and saw that it was a dealership. So they didn't know if this particular guy was part of the crime or not. So they went to the warehouse where all of his cars were, and they seized everything because they couldn't tell if it was owned or if it was part of a theft ring. So he had to prove to them, he had documents, receipts, I had bought these cars and stuff like that, but that's the issues you run along with. And it's very bad, and you never want to be a part of it, because now, he's been investigated by the DMV several times since then. He doesn't do anything wrong, it's just once you get on the DMV's radar, they have nothing else better to do than to screw with you. And, like I said, we talk about the police, we talk about, the feds, but people don't understand the DMV is the god when it comes to your dealer plates. They will literally show up to your dealership and snatch up all your plates. And there's nothing you can do. You could scream at them, tell them you're going to get an attorney. They don't care, because DMV law is completely different than regular law. So I remember I had a client where he was very upset that they snatched up all of his plates, and he said they couldn't do that. They went onto his property and took all of his plates. I'm like, dude, it's the DMV. They can do whatever you want. I go, was the plates at your dealership? He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, they have ultimate rule. They can walk in there, ask you for documents, you have to provide them. You know, if you don't have them there, you got like so many days to pick them up, and they even make you sign a piece of paper guaranteeing you'll do it. So, like I said, the DMV does not play. So you don't want to get in trouble with the cops, you don't want to get in trouble with the feds, and you definitely don't know grief from the DMV because it is major things. So anyways, I hope you guys learned something from this. Like I said, bottom line, never loan out your dealer plate. Never buy these ones online, dealer plates for $3.99. Don't do none of that shit. It's actually not that expensive to get your dealer plates. Get them the correct way, use them the correct way. If you have friends or family members that want to be, you know, part of the adventure, have them get their salesman's license. Add them to the insurance. Instead of charging them $500, say, hey, look, it's going to cost you $300 a month to be on the insurance, and charge them an additional $300 to get the plate. It's not that hard. And plus, if something happens, you're covered. Okay, guys, and the final reason why you never want to give out your dealer plates is insurance. So I've had this happen to a few clients and also friends of mine, and I want to share their stories with you so you don't have the issues that came along with them. So they were giving out their dealer plates to other people, and you know, they would get into car accidents and stuff like that, and they didn't have insurance on the vehicle. So instead of them doing something, they actually filed claims against their own friend's insurance. Now, you've heard me talk about this many times on my channel. You never file a claim with your insurance, ever. You always pay it off cash. If you don't have the cash, get a credit card, get a loan. You never want to go against your insurance, because what happens is once you get a claim on your insurance, the next year it's going to double. I don't care if you've had 10 years where you have been a good customer and you've never had any incidents, and you get one accident, they will double your insurance or they'll drop you. It's very big with the dealership and the rental car business. So don't ever file a claim on your insurance. So now these people are getting sued by their friends, you know, and they have no standability because they illegally gave them their plates. And so now they're forced to either fix their friends' cars or get sued by their friends, you know, and then you have to hear all the griping. Well, come on, let's use your insurance. It's not that big of a deal. Just help me out. I can't take a big loss like this. You don't want to deal with that stuff, guys. I'm telling you, do it the correct way. Like I said, it's not that hard to get a dealership's license. You can get your dealer's license, your rental car license, get the insurance, the bond, everything else, and it'll take you less time to do this than probably searching up all these shady dealers online selling you dealer's license or dealer plates for $3.99 a month. So anyways, if you've learned anything, please smash the like button. I truly appreciate it. Also, if you consider subscribing, like I said, I do post epic stuff like this all the time. Also, if you could follow us on Instagram at automotive.life, and we'll see you next video.